right. I've got a chat. I've got a little talk that came to me this morning during my morning quiet time. So you guys know I talk a lot about my morning routine, like what I do every morning without fail to just really get me like centered and grounded so that I can handle whatever comes at me throughout the day. Sometimes I only get 10 minutes. Sometimes I get an hour, right? It just depends. It depends on Dylan, really. It depends on mostly Dylan, but also just what else is happening in our life with my youngest daughter, if my husband's home or not. But anyways, I was doing my morning devotional this morning, and it was one of these times where something just jumped out at me. I read this sentence in one of my devotional books, and I was like, oh, like right away, I felt it of like, oh, I feel like this is talking to me, situation I'm going through in my personal life right now. And also instantly at the same time, I was like, oh my gosh, I think my clients need to hear this because it's one of these thought processes that can apply so much to the quitting drinking journey. So I want to share this with you guys and then just kind of walk you through like what it brought up for me, the thought process it brought up for me, and how I think it can probably help a lot of you just when we hit some of these rough points in this trying to figure out how to quit for good, how to figure out what our life looks like without alcohol. So I'm going to preface this also by saying when I'm talking about this, when I'm talking about anything else, you guys, and you hear me say the word God, I want you to know that I say God because I have a very close relationship with the God of my understanding. My higher power is God. For a long time, it wasn't God. It was the universe. So whatever your higher power is, whether you call it God, whether it's Jesus, whether it's the universe, it's source, it's spirit, it's angels, it's Mother Earth. It does not matter to me what name you ascribe to your higher power. It's just the idea of the higher power outside of you that kind of runs the show. Okay. So when you hear me say God, if God doesn't resonate with you, sure, whatever word you use for your belief in your higher power. Okay. But what I read, I'm gonna just share with you what I read and then how it can really apply to some of the stumbles and struggles we have in this quitting drinking journey. Okay. So the difficulties in my life are not in the way of God's plan. They are a tool of it. They're crafted to advance his work of grace. So immediately the reframe I made to this for the quitting drinking journey was the difficulties that you might experiencing right now are not in the way of you quitting drinking. They are how you learn to not drink. So these situations that you keep stumbling over, the times you keep slipping, you keep going back to alcohol, you keep giving into cravings, these situations are showing you exactly where to put your focus and energy. They're a spotlight, if you will. They are an arrow. They are a road sign saying, stop here and do this work. These difficulties, these situations are the only way to develop the characteristic, the skill that will bring you the peace and the ease and the confidence and the freedom that you want. So remind yourself that when these difficulties pop up, when you feel like, and you guys, I hear it all the time. I hear it almost every day in one way, shape, or form in this group and other groups from private clients. And it's like, I just don't know how to do this. This keeps happening. I keep giving in. Is it always going to feel hard? Every variation of that, right? Every variation of that is when we need to be able to stop and say to ourselves that like, this difficulty itself is not the thing that's in the way of you quitting drinking long term. It's what the difficulty is trying to show you. It's what it's trying to teach you. It's the opportunity to use that difficulty to learn a very necessary and vital skill that is going to serve you long term in your life of not drinking. So you can't skip it, and you can't also just keep making the same mistake and hoping that somehow magically you develop the characteristic that could come from it without actually doing the work, right? And that's the whole thing. A lot of times we keep thinking that these difficulties, these hard situations, the things that we keep repeating over and over again, and then dealing with the same regret, the same guilt, the same shame, the same disappointment. We're inclined to tell ourselves that it's because we're weak or we're not cut out for this, when really it's just that you're avoiding doing the work to figure that situation out. And I say that with love because I am also a woman who avoided the work for a very long time until I finally surrendered to the work and realized that doing that work, whatever the work is, doing the work is the only way to get what you say you want. If you want to learn how to navigate social situations without needing or wanting to drink, then you have to force yourself to do social situations without drinking. It's the only way to figure out how to make them easier. If you say that you want the peace to know how to handle a stressful day and not drink, if you want to know how to deal with the chaos of small kids without giving in and drinking, then you need to not give in and drink. And that is where you are going to figure out what else brings you peace. How else can you calm your inner storm? How else can you relax? How else can you shift your negative mindset around chaotic kids and figure out a way to be more present with your kids? What are your kids actually needing from you? How can you show up for them? How can you show up for yourself? Continuing to just give in and say, oh, this is too hard, I'm just going to drink. You're avoiding the work. The difficulty is there to teach you how to attain the thing that you say that you want, okay? What if you could finally break free from the constant cycle of drinking, quitting, bargaining with yourself, and actually build a life that feels calm and clear and deeply aligned with who you want to be? I created the alcohol-free blueprint for women who are ready to stop trying to moderate and start feeling confident and steady and fully present in their life again. This program isn't just about quitting drinking. It's about taking back your energy and your mindset and your wellness and your freedom. Inside the blueprint, I'll walk you step by step through the tools, mindset shifts, and support systems that actually help you change for good. You'll learn how to handle cravings, rebuild your habits, feel stronger in your body, and navigate all of life's ups and downs without alcohol. And you'll have full access to over 45 video lessons, journaling prompts, live coaching, and community support. So you never have to do this alone. One of my clients, let's call her Sarah, came to me after years of trying to control her drinking. She told me, I finally feel free. I'm not constantly thinking about drinking anymore. I have energy again, and I actually like myself. And that's just the kind of change we're after. Most of my clients are excited to no longer be a drinker after just 30 days inside the blueprint. If you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and start living the life alcohol has been holding you back from, head to the link in the show notes or go find me over on Instagram. I would love to help you take this next step. And when I say all that, when I said the word work now, maybe 10 times in the last minute, I want you to know, remind yourself that this work of learning these things, this work of navigating these difficult situations and figuring out what they're trying to teach us, you guys, that is not any more work than your drinking is. Drinking is hard work. This feels maybe harder because it's new. That's it. We're still just talking about the commodities of energy and effort and time. You get to decide where you put your energy and effort and time. But do not fall for this disillusion that drinking is somehow easier. It's just familiar. The work of being hungover, the work of that shame and guilt and disappointment is still work. It's just familiar. So it doesn't feel like quite as much work as the new work of learning how to get through these difficult situations and learning the new skills to show up for these situations without giving in and drinking. It's all still work. The work of drinking and the aftermath of drinking is just more familiar. But these situations, the difficulties that you're experiencing, the difficulties that keep tripping you up, where you keep choosing to go back and drink again, are going to continue to show up over and over and over again until you ask yourself, how else could you do them? How else could you do them? How else could you get through them? What is this an opportunity to learn? What is this an opportunity that you're trying to be taught something here, right? So there's actually a couple of questions along that vein. As I was going deeper into this work for my own situation, the own difficulties in my life. Again, the phrase that we're working with here, and again, remind yourself, interchange the word God for whatever works better for you, okay? But the difficulties in my life, so for you guys, we're going to say the difficulties in my journey to quit drinking are not in the way of me quitting drinking. They are a tool of the process. They are part of it. They are crafted to help me learn to not drink. Oh, another question then. What is God doing right here, right now? What is your sober journey trying to teach you right here, right now? How could you respond to what your sober journey is showing you right here and right now? Your sober journey is employing these difficulties as tools to produce character in you that cannot grow any other way. Okay, I'm going to say that again. These difficulties in your sober journey are tools to produce character in you that cannot grow any other way. The only way through these difficulties is through them. The more you try to avoid them, the more you try to skip it, the more you keep going back and choosing a solution that you know is not working, which is drinking, the more these are going to keep happening and the more you're going to stay stuck. So ask yourself, what is this journey trying to teach me right now? What is this journey trying to show me? And how can I respond? What is a new way I can respond that is going to move me closer to what I say that I want? If you want to feel more confident, you've got to put yourself in the situations where you can grow your confidence. And yes, it might feel hard and messy. You guys, that's the point. Learning new things rarely feels super good and easy and like, oh my God, I did it once and awesome. Like, check that off the box. It went great. No, that's not how it ever works. Think about like toddlers when they're learning to walk. Think about like your kids learning to read. That math homework, any of it, you guys, learning is usually messy. We get it wrong before we get it right. But there's always like nuggets of wisdom and things that we need to know in all of those times that we do get it wrong, right? Like we can't skip the process and just magically hope that you're going to go from a woman who has been drinking every single day or even a woman that's only drinking on the weekends. You don't get to magically just say, all right, awesome, I'm going to feel fantastic without alcohol every day for the rest of my life now. You guys, that's not how it works for 99% of us, okay? We've got to do the work. We've got to go through these difficulties and learn what they're trying to teach us. And what they're trying to teach us is actually just the skill and the characteristic that we're so desperate to have. It's the peace, it's the confidence, it's the ease, it's the freedom, it's the joy that's not dependent on alcohol. It's the relaxation that's not dependent on alcohol. You can't learn that without trying and fumbling through other ways of learning to relax. You can't learn how to feel good in social situations if you don't go into social situations and actually stick through the discomfort of being there without a drink. Giving in and drinking might seem easier in the moment, but it's not actually easier, is it? Because you know you're going to just be in a downward spiral of shame and guilt and regret pretty soon, and then frustration, and then more disappointment, and then more self-doubt. And then you feel like you're in a bigger hole and you're trying to dig your way out and thinking, God, this feels harder every time I do it. Well, it is harder every time you do it. That's what alcohol does. Alcohol is a really powerful drug. It's going to feel harder every time you keep trying to work your way out of it. So you need to just embrace the difficulty and trust that it is a tool to teach you how to get the thing that you say that you want, okay? And the hard parts of doing that work, the hard parts of learning these new things, navigating new situations, dealing with the uncertainty, dealing with the self-consciousness, dealing with the like, oh my gosh, but I haven't like had a social life without alcohol in 20 plus years. You guys, it gets easier because we're doing it together. You have friends, you have a community, you have other women that are also trying to do this too and can support you and lift you up as you're doing this. But it's not going to get easier if you keep giving in at the first sign of temptation. Okay, so when you're tempted to think like, "Oh, it's just so hard, I keep giving in." Well, we keep giving in because we're avoiding doing the work. We're just choosing the familiar work and agony and destruction of alcohol. Quitting is not any more work. It's just new. So it's uncertain, right? This is when that whole conversation about the subconscious comes back in. Everything we've been talking about how your ego, your subconscious equates familiarity with safety. So even when something is not serving you anymore, even when alcohol is literally and figuratively dragging you down, harming your mind and harming your body, it is at least familiar. So your subconscious is going to want to choose it all the time. But you can't overrule that. You can change that, but it requires effort. It requires intention. Those subconscious patterns of reaching for alcohol at every turn have become ingrained over years and years and years of making the decision to choose alcohol. So making the decision to now not choose alcohol is going to feel like it's full of friction, but it doesn't last forever. You guys, think about that. This is when you got to kind of like zoom out too and think about everybody that's gone before you, everybody else you follow on Sober Instagram, on Pinterest, on blogs, podcasts you listen to, books you read. What do we all tell you? We all tell you that it gets easier the longer you keep going. It will get easier if you stay the course. If you stay the course and keep choosing to not drink 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day at a time, do the things, whatever is required in that moment to just not drink. Keep learning, keep being open to change, keeping open to this work rather than the familiar work of drinking. We're just choosing new work, and it is going to pay off. It is a 99.9% guarantee because you have millions of people like me telling you it works. You just have to keep doing it. It's not going to work if you keep giving in to familiarity and going back to drinking just because it's what you've always done, okay? I'm going to leave it there for today. I would love to hear how this landed for you. I would love to hear what this brings up. If it lands, did it trigger you a little bit? That's okay, you guys. A lot of times we're triggered when we're kind of called out on our stuff, right? But that's what we're here for. We're here for the hard truths. We're here to dig into the uncomfortable learning because that's the potential for the biggest reward. When something feels uncomfortable, it's because we know that there's goodness inside of it. We've just got to be willing to see it through. I'd love to hear what landed, and I will talk to you guys again soon.